Hey guys, what's up? Bellair Gaming here with another video. This is some Christmas facts, so let's get in with this. This is 7 historical events that took place on Christmas. So, number 1, 800, whatever. Charles Magny is crowned Holy Roman Emperor. You could read this. I'm just gonna go through this quickly. You guys could read this if you want, so you could read each one. Just pause the video and read it then if you would like. William the Conqueror is crowned King of England in 1066 AD. Like I said again, you could read that. Well, I will come back to it. I'll go back to it and read it. So we'll go through these and then I'll read them. Quickly though. 1776, George Washington and the Continental Army crossed the Delaware River. So, right there, you could read that, but I'll read it then. The Treaty of Ghent ends the War of 1812 and 1814. Could pause and read that, but I will. 1868, President Andrew Johnson issues a final pardon to Confederate soldiers. You could read this if you want. I will be going back. This will probably go into 2 parts, so yeah. 1914, the World War I Christmas truce is reached. You could read this while pausing. This, like I said, this will most likely go to 2 parts. 1968, Apollo 8 orbits the moon on Christmas. You could read this. So let's get reading. Reading ready to read. Okay. Often called the father of Europe, Charles Magny was a Frankish warrior king who united much of the continent under the banner of the Carolingian Empire. Beginning in the late 700s, Charles Magny forced a vast kingdom through extensive military campaigns against the Saxons, the Lombards, and the Avars. A devout Catholic, he also aggressively converted his subjects to Christianity and instituted strict religious reforms. On Christmas Day 800, Pope Leo III crowned Charles Magny Emperor of the Romans. During a ceremony at St. Peter's Basilica, this controversial coronation restored the Western Roman Empire name and established Charles Magny as the divinely appointed leader of most of Europe. More importantly, it placed him on equal footing with the Byzantine Empress Irene, who ruled over the Eastern Empire in Constantinople. Charles Magny would serve as emperor for 13 years, and his legal and education reforms sparked a cultural revival and unified much of Europe for the first time since the fall of the Roman Empire. The 1066 holiday season played host to an event that permanently changed the course of European history. On Christmas Day, William, Duke of Normandy, better known as William the Conqueror, was crowned King of England at Westminster Abbey in London. The coronation came in the wake of William's legendary invasion of the British Isles, which had ended in October 1066 with a victory over King Harold II at the Battle of Hastings. William the Conqueror's 21-year rule would see many Norman customs and laws find their way into the English life. After consolidating his power by building famous structures such as the Tower of London and Windsor Castle, William also gave copious land grants to his French-speaking allies. This not only permanently changed the development of the English language. Nearly 1/3 of modern English is derived from French words, but it also contributed to the rise of the feudal system of government that characterized much of the Middle Ages. Okay. At the end of 1776, the Revolutionary War looked like it might be lost for colonial forces. A series of defeats by the British had depleted morale and many soldiers had deserted the Continental Army. Desperate to strike a decisive victory on Christmas Day, General George Washington led 2,400 troops on a daring nighttime crossing of the icy Delaware River. Stealing into New Jersey on December 26, the Continental forces launched a surprise attack on Trenton, which was held by a force of German soldiers known as Hessians. General Washington's gamble paid off. Many of the Hessians were still disoriented from the previous night's holiday bender, and colonial forces defeated them with minimal bloodshed. While Washington had pulled off a shock victory, his army was unequipped to hold the city, and he was forced to recross the Delaware that same day, this time with nearly 1,000 Hessian prisoners in tow. Washington would go on to score successive victories at the battles of the Assunpink, Pink Creek, and Princeton, and his audacious crossing of the frozen Delaware served as a crucial rallying cry for the beleaguered Continental Army. Okay. On December 24th, today, 201 years ago, so pretty much 201 years ago today, this happened. On December 24th, 1814, while many in the Western world celebrated Christmas Eve, the United States and Great Britain sat down to sign a famous peace agreement ending the War of 1812. Negotiations had begun in Ghent, Belgium, earlier that August, the same month that British forces burned the White House and the U.S. Capitol in Washington. After more than 4 months of debate, the American and British delegations agreed to a settlement that essentially ended the war as a draw. All conquered territories were relinquished, and captured soldiers and vessels were returned to their respective nations. While the Treaty of Ghent effectively ended the 32-month conflict, it did not take effect in the United States until it was ratified in February 1815. In fact, one of the greatest American victories of the war at the Battle of New Orleans in January 1815 came more than a week after the Treaty of Ghent had been signed. Okay. At the tail end of his term as president, Andrew Johnson gave a handful of former Confederate rebels a famous Christmas present. By way of Proclamation 179 on December 25th, 1868, Johnson issued amnesty to all and every person who had fought against the United States during the Civil War. Johnson's blanket pardon was actually the fourth in a series of post-war amnesty orders dating back to May 1865. Earlier agreements had restored legal and political rights to Confederate soldiers in exchange for signed oaths of allegiance to the United States. But these pardons exempted 14 classes of people, including certain officers, government officials, and those with property valued over $20,000. The Christmas pardon stood as a final and unconditional act of forgiveness for unreconstructed Southerners, including many former Confederate generals. Okay. The World War I Christmas truce is reached. The year 1914 saw the Christmas spirit manifest itself in the most unlikely of places, a World War I battlefield. Starting on the evening of December 24th today, 1914, so about 101 years ago, scores of German, British, and French troops in Belgium laid down their arms and initiated a spontaneous holiday ceasefire. The truce was reportedly instigated by the Germans, who decorated their trenches with Christmas trees and candles and began singing carols like Silent Night, Holy Night. Okay. British troops responded with their own rendition of the First Noel, and the weary combatants eventually ventured into no man's land, the treacherous bombed-out space that separated the trenches, to greet one another and shake hands. So I have to stop here. Down below is my sponsors, my website, my friend Timmy, his channel. Everyone check out the description below. See you all later. Read the rest on by yourself. Peace out. Beller Gaming out.